He threw his bloody racket, almost took my head off the other day. Right, let's say 6 foot. He must be at least 6'2". So good technically.
Yeah, very good. Good
There's
player.
no real weaknesses.
Not a lot. No, except the mental thing. Very technically, very good. Slaps it in. You'll see a bit of attack from him.
Okay, great use. What would we say? So, let's get a word for it. Downward thrust. Great downward thrust.
Downward
and
thrust
slice.
will do. Yeah.
Great.
His racket head speed is very good. Racket head
Exceptional
speed
racket
is.
head speed. Exceptional racket head speed.
God,
Oh,
fucking
the final of the men's singles at the 2006 Commonwealth Games. David Palmer, the pre-competition favourite, number 1 seed from Australia in the yellow and green, taking on Peter Nicol, the champion from 1998, runner-up in Manchester in 2002. One of the greats of the modern game, 49 PSA Tour titles, but this would be the sweetest victory of all. Starts this final as underdog. Had that war with Nick Matthew in the semi-final. That will have taken something out of him. Alongside me in the commentary box, James Wilstrop. What are you expecting here, James?
Well, very difficult to predict, as always, Matthew, in squash. But I do know one thing. It's one of the most exciting squash occasions that I think I've probably ever seen. And you've got one guy, Peter Nicol, who's coming towards the end of his career. He's absolutely desperate for this tournament. It's just a great prospect. I can't wait.
Well, that was a shot that was winning Palmer the points when he came through in emphatic fashion against Lee Beachell in yesterday's semi-final. 9-love, 9-4, 9-4. But the anticipation here is palpable. Could it be one last hurrah for Peter Nicol? Or will the number 1 seed continue with the dominant form that we've seen thus far in this men's singles competition?
Well, I doubt that was a bad decision. The ball came straight out. Peter couldn't play that ball. I think the referee will probably want to get these two guys playing the ball. He won't want any niggly kind of matches for the final. He want a good match, good clean match with squash. And I think in a way it's quite sensible that he's trying to get them to play the ball. But in that case, I think it was a stroke.
The technique of Palmer, clinical, clean. Great downward thrust on both forehand and backhand. He controlled that point from the outset.
Well, on the evidence of these first couple of rallies, Matthew, they both look madly up for it. They're just absolutely racing around the court. Peter looks to be moving well, picking up balls, which is a good sign after his exertions yesterday. That does take a lot out of the legs, and to make a very positive start moving forward like he is a good sign for the English.
Probing squash from both players, seeking out our weaknesses, looking to exploit and capitalise on any loose shots. Great drop shot from Palmer.
Yeah, and we've seen early on there, his attacking brand of squash, the one which he showed against Lee Beechell in the semi-final, he's continued with in this final. He's taken a few shots very quickly into the front of the court already. So no intention of rallies for Palmer tonight. He's looking to attack the ball, take it into the front and make Peter move right into the corners. And that was the exact shot that it worked so well for him last night. He snapped it in very quickly with an extremely quick racket head speed. Great control on that shot. Took it in very low and very low over the tin.
Piece of good fortune for Nicol. Dribbling away from the intersection between the side wall and the floor. Has to be said that Palmer, the Australian, is looking to be in sensational form. Despite that unforced error, his power is awesome.
We were watching the match together in the England corner last night, Lee Beechell against David, and I think what Peter will have seen was that David was so good on the attack. So what he'll be trying to do is to close down his options. He'll be trying to get great width on his cross courts. He wants his straight drives running straight down the wall. He won't want to clip side walls and give David chances on his racket. He'll just want to make it very tight, just like this, and probably mostly deep to keep David away from the front areas of the court, which he played so well into last night. And so far, I think Peter's doing a great job of this. He's getting some great length, like there on his straight drives, and choosing the right time to take the ball in short.
Good recovery from Palmer. Nicol in control. And he made it count.
He worked him so well in that rally. He played the straight drives down the wall. The cross courts were wide, like we were saying. Worked him for a long period, and then he got his chances and took the ball in short very well.
Nicol acknowledging that the ball had bounced twice before he got his racket to the ball. Great sportsmanship from Nicol. Seen that throughout this competition and indeed throughout the long and magnificent career that he's had in squash. This certainly his last Commonwealth Games, quite possibly his last competition.
Oh, well, that's a lesson in squash there for anyone. Straight drives down the wall, working the rally again, working the opportunity. That's what squash is all about. And then he got it, and he played a wonderful forehand volley drop, taking it early.
Well, that was just too good. Once again, Nicol outmanoeuvring his opponent, delivering the final smash emphatically into the back corner. 2-point margin now for Nicol, 4-2. Referee confirming that it was indeed a stroke to Nicol. Perfect start. Wall clinging shots from both players. Wonderful length from Palmer. Oh, lovely backhand overhead drop shot by Palmer. Service switches again.
Well, what a fantastic shot. When the ball's that high, it's so hard to control where the ball's going. He did it so well. Brilliant technique. There it is again. He's hit that shot so well in the last couple of days. Great racket head preparation, and he snapped the ball so quickly with a bit of cut on it, very low, and it's just so quick that Peter can't see it and react to it.
So Nicol catching Palmer on the backswing, attempted forehand, apologising for that. Here we see it.
Yeah, well, absolutely right from the referee there. Peter was, I think, genuinely trying to play that shot, and it wasn't quite sure how close David Palmer was to him and hit him. It has to be a stroke. Palmer was encroaching on his shot. So, yeah, quite right from the referee. Good decision.
Well worth another look. Unintentional, but the referee correctly calling a stroke. And despite Palmer running into a 2-love lead, Nicol has hit back. He's kept it tight. He's kept the pressure on. He's made Palmer play. And he's controlling this opening game of the men's singles final with service 5-3. Well, Nicol wrong-footed by the earlier boast, but he's back in it. Or is he? Another tough rally for both players.
Oh, very well played, Peter. He worked himself out of the horrible position that he was in and dug in so hard there. That's just the type of guy he is. He's just such a tough nut to crack at times, and he'll just chase everything down until he's lost. He just never knows when to stop. And great competitor.
The winning cut by Palmer once again. Lots of slice, making the ball die off the floor. Nicol's got to stop him playing that shot.
I think the great thing about watching these two play, they're both. Peter is obviously a legend of the game of squash, and David Palmer's done his fair share. There's bags of experience on this court tonight. They've come through the field yet again. They've had their ups and downs over the last few years, but here it is, all the experience, all the wins, all the losses, the British Open titles. It's all here tonight, and these are two of the best players of the last decade.
Well, they took it in turns to be in control of that point. But the sheer persistence of Nicol eventually causing the error from Palmer. The player from England practices in London. He is utterly unpenetrable. He keeps it going regardless of the circumstances. And it's that consistency that has enabled him to attain a 1-point lead.
Yeah, well, Dave was just entering into a good patch there. He'd won a couple of points, and he was kind of eating away at Peter's lead, which obviously Peter had to do something about, and Dave was taking a bit of control, so Pete obviously had to really dig in and just chase up there, and